There's been these 5,000-year-old systems of health and well-being that people have been using, and I personally, growing up in India as a child, I observed my grandmother, who had no degrees in, she didn't go to medical school, but she had an ability because she was a village healer.
That child is now Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, an Indian-American scientist and entrepreneur. Originally from Mumbai, India, he now lives in Massachusetts, where he obtained 4 degrees from the prestigious Massachusetts Institute of Technology. His grandma was his inspiration for becoming a doctor and later returning to India to learn more about traditional Indian medicine that includes 2 systems, Siddha, which is practiced in the south, and another one called Ayurveda.
I went back to India in 2008 on a Fulbright, and how did I reconcile it? And in fact, I was when I went back, I was working with the National Institute of Epidemiology in India, and I was really interested in discovering what these 2 systems of medicine were, right? Why did my grandmother, why was she able to do that? And so I traveled all over India, and one day, literally, it was it's interesting, Michael, I was studying the Siddha system of medicine, went to various different places to study with different people, and then I had a big aha moment. And the aha moment I had was, I said, you know what? That these traditional folks, which they call rishis or gurus, etc., they were looking at the body, and I came to the conclusion they weren't looking at it at what I'd learned in my PhD as using words like genes, right, or proteins, right, or genetics.
That's basically how Dr. Shiva came up with the online tool, Your Body, Your System, for everyone to understand their body as a system. He also developed the software system Cytosolve for looking at the body and to mathematically model diseases on the computer to identify how combinations of food, supplements, herbs, and compounds work without the need for animal testing. What is the fundamental difference between Eastern and Western systems of medicine?
What I also realized with my studies is that the Western system of medicine, fundamentally, Michael, came from wartime medicine. If you really look at it, it came during the middle of the Crimean War. People like Florence Nightingale, she was not just a nurse, she was a statistician, a member of the Royal Society. She actually figured out people were dying not because of being shot on a battlefield, but because when they came to the hospital. And that the goal was to create a healthcare system. And that really resulted in the modern healthcare system, surgery and antibiotics and hygiene and cleaning up the hospitals. And that's what we have today. We have the modern healthcare system, but remember, it originated from wanting to put a soldier back on the field. Eastern systems of medicine are based on prevention, which means you try to capture things in the early stages. Hey, I see something, you look a little tired, let's do that. Hey, I notice that your skin is a little bit dry. So in the traditional healing systems of medicine, you caught people way ahead. You were incentivized, because that's those systems of medicine, by the way, being a doctor.
While the traditional Indian system of medicine is one of balancing the body and dealing with disease at an early stage, the approach in Western medicine is just the opposite.
Western system medicine typically catches it in the 5th and 6th stage, when it's erupted to something that's in a crisis stage. And when it gets to a crisis stage, then you hammer it like you're going and fighting something. Chemotherapy, right? Surgery, interventions. That's what we do in wartime medicine. And that is highly expensive.
So, how does Dr. Shiva look at COVID-19 from the traditional Indian system of medicine? It's all about how we can strengthen the immune system.
The goal is to really support the immune system. The goal is support the immune system at varying levels. The immune system has the innate immune system composed of macrophages and neutrophils, which is in our skin and our mucous membranes. We also have the interferon system, which is composed of all different kinds of cytokines. We have the adaptive immune system, which is composed of T cells and B cells, which create antibodies.
With the knowledge he gained from both the traditional Indian and Western systems of medicine, Dr. Shiva works to decentralize the practice of medicine by using a bottom-up instead of a top-down approach, as promulgated by Big Pharma.
And it's really going back to the village healer, right? It's going back to you having a relationship with your body, with your practitioner, and figuring out what's right for you. Look, the body is a very complex system. To denote that one size fits all is frankly anti-human in my view. It's anti-systems. You know, you don't do that to your car, right? We treat our car in a much more of a systems way than we do our body.
Dr. Shiva's goal is to change these things and make the world a better place. Today we have bread but no health. We have land but no freedom. We have peace without truth. It all began with a need and a desire to help. With the nearest animal shelter 2 hours away and usually full, one man had the heart to act. Seeing so many homeless and starving dogs all around, he made the decision to open his home and take them in. Thus begins the story of how one man's kindness and generosity helped save hundreds of animals from disaster.
Is